upload a bank feed via Excel, and then we're going to also see how we can import this and then the queuing system, and then we're also going to see what happens if we've selected the incorrect file format. So let's get a bank feed uploaded. Where we're going to go to first, we're currently in BrightAccountsProduction, and we're going to go onto the left-hand side onto our navigation panel, and we're going to go down to banking. Within here, we're going to go to our bank feeds on the right, and then we're going to bring in a new one. So we're going to click on new. The first thing you need to do is you need to select which bank account you want to import it to. So which nominal code, which bank account, we drop that down and make our selection. I'm going to bring it into the 771 account. You then need to select what are you looking to import. Are you looking to import all transactions, maybe only payments, maybe only receipts? I'm going to bring in everything though. And then we need to select the bank feed template. So the template is essentially telling the software, where have we downloaded this from? So on the bank feeds, what this is logging into your online bank account, viewing your statement, and then downloading your statement into the Excel file. You must not amend that Excel file. Leave it the way it is. And we'll see why that happens in a minute or two. But once you've downloaded that Excel file, you'll come into here, you'll make the selection of whichever bank account you downloaded it from, make your selection, and then choose the file wherever it was saved to. So again, this could be anywhere on your machine. Click on open and then load. This will then pull in absolutely every transaction that was on that particular bank statement that you downloaded. At this stage, as you can see, it's not a particularly large one that I've brought in, but I've got my payments, I've got my receipts. Now, what do we do at this stage? As you may notice on the right-hand side, this is currently a loading screen. Nothing has actually hit the ledger cards as of yet. So at this stage, what we want to do is we want to actually allocate where everything goes to, because as you can see, the status is currently red. Red tells me that the system doesn't know what's happening with these transactions. So we need to tell it what to do. So one thing we need to do, we either need to select a customer or a supplier for each transaction, or it needs to go directly to a nominal code as a non-supplier or non-customer receipt or payment. So this first one here, as you can see, it has a few numbers, apple green, and a few numbers. That to me tells me that that's actually a payment for diesel, okay? Because apple green's a petrol station here. So I'm not going to allocate that to a customer or supplier. I'm going to go to the end of the line and I'm going to put that directly to my motor expenses, my 351 account. If there's any VAT on that or not, make your selection also. And as you see, that's now changed to green because we've told the system where it needs to go to. At this stage, though, whenever I'm uploading a bank feed or a new bank statement, I don't want to have to be telling the system that every single time. So what I would do, is what I recommend everyone to do, is to make a rule at this stage. So click on make rule. Now, again, it's going to base it off the narrative. So this is quite common in what it looks like on a lot of people's bank statements. You know, you might have, as you see here, Apple Green, or it could be Texaco, or it could be Circle K, whatever it might be. And then it has a load of weird random numbers on it. Very typical. And those numbers might change. You don't know what those numbers are going to be, but you always know there's going to be that particular narrative as you see Apple Green there. So what I'll do is I'll remove the numbers and I'll tell the system anytime it sees the wording apple green, it'll then know going forward it needs to go to the nominal code 351. So anything that has kind of dates or numbers at the end of the line, get rid of those and leave the specific text in so the system will know where it needs to go to on the next time you bring in your bank feed. So the first bank feed that you upload, it's the tedious one. You have to tell the system where everything's going to. After that, it knows exactly where it's going to go to. Similar enough for this one here, employee, that's salaries there. That's going to go to 301. There's going to be no VAT on that. Wages and salaries. And again, it's gone green, but to make sure that I don't have to redo that every time, I go use my make rule option, making sure that the narrative, that's what always comes in on my statement. Click on OK. If it's the case it needs to go to a customer or a supplier, we use the customer supplier option here. So use our little magnifying glass, select our customer or supplier. There's Board Gosh there. And there we go. Again, that's now yellow. And we'll come to that in a moment, but we want to make sure that we've set up our rule first. Click on Make Rule. Okay, so we now, going forward, don't have to select Board Gosh every single time. Now, why is it yellow? That means that the system knows where the transaction is going to, but it's not yet allocated to an outstanding invoice. To allocate it, we use our allocation option here. Now, I'm not sure if I have any outstanding invoices or not. I might not. But if I click on allocation here, there we go. It's pulled in one invoice for me there that I can allocate it against. Tick the box and then save. And you'll see once I save that, it's now fully allocated and it's now green. If it was the case that I didn't have an invoice at that time, that's perfectly okay as well. You can import in transactions that don't have outstanding invoices yet. It might be a prepayment or anything like that. That's fine. We can go and allocate it later on. Lastly, if it happens to be a transaction that might need to be split, okay, so maybe you have split divisions, split customers, it's going to different places, that's no problem at all. So to do that, so for example, I'll use this one here, this receipt. We'll say that this is for multiple different, it was a cash lodgement and it's for different sales nominals. So rather than me picking on one here, I have my split option down in the bottom. And then I can say, right, I can also split this across multiple customers as well if needs be. I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to say, right, this first line here, €1,000 of that is going to go for sales 001. And then the second line of it, again, very imaginative wording I have. It tells me in the bottom right how much the splits are. Okay, so I have 1,100 left unallocated. If I had more splits, I could keep going, but I'll just say that the other split of that is going to 002. Oh, I haven't set that up yet. I'll just put it to sales 2. There we go. Again, if there was different VAT rates, I can make that selection. I don't currently have divisions turned on, but if there was multiple divisions, I could select them on this screen also. Once I'm happy with that, click on save, and there we go. It's now turned to green. Now, I haven't filled in the rest of them yet. That's fine. You don't have to import them all in one go. You can import in some and come back to it later. That's no problem at all. But tick the boxes on the left-hand side. What are we going to import? Again, I'll just tick down the line. I'll import those 4 transactions. And then once I'm happy with it, and I want them to hit the ledger cards, I might be a bit busy. I can come back to the others later. I click on import. It lets me know I'm going to bring in 3 payments and 1 receipt. That's fine. Click on yes, and that's it now queued. Okay. Now, what does that currently mean, queued? That means that it has gone up to our system and it's currently queued to be imported in. Depending on how large or small that the bank feed is, it might take 30 seconds, it might take 10 minutes. It really depends on how many transactions you're importing in one go. But FYI, you'll be notified once it's completed. Along the top here, as you see, there's a little icon here for a notification and the 1. If I click on this, it'll tell me. If I scroll down, there we go. Apple Inc. is the business I'm in. It's currently importing in and it's not yet started. So it'll start in a couple of moments, it will. But once it's completed, I'll get a little red notification in the top corner to let me know that it's being imported in. What happens if we've made a mistake? that's no problem. If I need to jump back into it and import the rest of them, that's fine. I can click back into it by using the down arrow and then print. If it's the case that I've got an error message, what does the error message tell me? So if I go and import in a new transaction or a new bank feed here, click on the down arrow and I'll import it into a different account this time. And I'll say that I'm importing in an AIB account and I'll choose my file. Now I'm going to pick a different one here just for example purposes here. If the bank template, as I mentioned earlier, when you download your statement into an Excel file, do not edit that Excel file. Don't change the headings or columns or anything like that. The reason being, if you try to import something that doesn't match exactly what was downloaded from the bank and you try and click on load here, you'll get this error message, validation message, invalid file format. So it needs to make sure that the system, once you've downloaded it from your bank, leave the headings the way they are, because that is the format it is in. We have made the formats available to you just below this video as well in the Excel document. I'll just jump into it here so you can take a look at it briefly. There's a lot of different formats, but as you can see here, this is the BOI personal one, and it needs to make sure that it's date, details, debit, credit, balance. If I jump into, say, the AIB one, so this is, if I scroll across a little bit here, the AIB personal, posted account, posted transactions, description, debit, credit, etc., etc. So you can see that that's a different format to what the Bank of Ireland one was. So selecting your format is very important, okay, and making sure that you don't be deleting any columns, because if I say removed out the description here, I'll get that error message as well. Okay, so when you download it from your bank, leave it the way it is. Okay, that is uploading your bank feeds from top to bottom via Excel and making your rules and allocating your transactions. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was informative. If you do have any queries at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to our support team. We can help out in any way, shape, or form. Thank you. Goodbye.